Welcome to On the Bubble Podcast, episode 135. I'm your host, Tsubasa J. Wade, and with me is my co-host, Yuki Lee Bender. Today, we're going to be going down the list of Compendium of Rathe spoilers, and we're going to be talking about the rares and commons, or at least the cards that we think are going to be good in the Sage format. This episode might be long, might not be long. We actually don't know yet. We'll see as we record. But if you guys do want to follow us, go to thefabruary.net and then go under spoilers, and under Compendium of Rathe, you'll be able to follow us through all the cards that we are talking about right now. And as a format for today, I think we're just going to be talking about each of the classes as a block, and then we're going to be going down in the order that the February.net has them listed.
Yeah, and we'll just be talking about Sage today, so no Majestics, and if there are cards that are common or rare, but we think are only really super relevant in CC, we will leave that for another episode. So just because we don't mention a common or rare doesn't mean that it's not playable in CC, but it just means that we don't necessarily think it's the most relevant to Silver Age, which is kind of the focus for today.
Mm-hmm. Yes. I guess, do you want to move right in, as this I don't know how long this might take.
Yeah, let's just do a quick Patreon shout out first. So thank you to all of our patrons who get back to the show. We really appreciate you, and we couldn't be doing what we're doing without you. So thank you so much for giving back, and thank you to all of our listeners who tune in and listen. You make the show possible, and yeah, that's why we do this. If you want to check us out, you can find us on patreon.com/onthebobble and support us that way. And you can also support us by buying if you want to buy singles from invasion.cnc.ca, one of the largest Canadian retailers for Flesh and Blood. You can use code YLB5 to let them know that we sent you, and that also helps us out. And that's another way to, get cards, save some money, and let them know that we sent you. So yeah, that's about it for Patreon. I guess you can kind of expect Silver Age content coming up as we go into Silver Age PQs, and then CC content as we go into CC PQs is probably what's to come for the Patreon content over the next, 6 weeks or whatever.
Okay, that's pretty cool. I guess before we talk about the actual cards, how much Silver Age have you been playing so far?
I've been playing a bit. I was trying to get Reinar to work with some of the beat chest stuff, because you can play Echo Cask. I didn't realize Echo Cask was a rare, and that's a pretty powerful headpiece equipment. You can pay 1 to draw a card if you've beaten chest, and it has Battle Worn 1. But the beat chest cards are kind of not great, so I did not have too much success with that. I felt like I got to play a lot of close games where I got my opponent to 2 and then I lose. Just not quite enough rate. I think Reinar might have other builds available to him that could be good, but I don't think beat chest is the way to go.
Beat chest is a pretty expensive cost to pay for your turn cycles in general. So, okay, that makes kind of sense. I guess those are mostly the Reinar Armory deck cards, right? You're playing with?
Yeah. I think, is it Sense Sphere? The 0 for 3 beat chest. If you beat in chest, it intimidates, and if you've intimidated twice, you get +3 at yellow. That card is probably the best beat chest card. It's pretty good when you pay 1 into Echo Cask and draw a card, but yeah, I don't know. I think that there's some real costs to that game plan.
I've also played a little bit of Silver Age in this last week or so. I was trying out Tough Nut because at the beginning, when Silver Age first got announced, there was a little bit of talk about why Vigorous Smash-Up got banned and it was probably for Tough Nut. And I was like, okay, maybe that gives me hope that Tough Nut might be good. And at least my first couple of drafts have been kind of a disaster. Some of the cards are really powerful, but some of the turn cycles, once you fall behind, becomes really bad, as you're not guaranteed to swing your weapon if you flip a red off the top. So I'm actually not exactly sure Tough Nut is good enough right now, but if we had Vigorous Smash-Up, I can kind of tell that Tough Nut would have been pretty sweet.
Yeah, I think Brutes in general would benefit quite a bit from Vigorous Smash-Up.
Mm-hmm, yeah, having the extra resources will go a long way. Okay, then let's start talking about the Compendium Rathe spoilers. As we're on the topic of Brutes, that's going to be the first class we're going to start with today. And I think we start off pretty strong with the Brute class in Compendium Rathe. Let's start with Buzzard Helm. This card's insane. This is just a temper 1 blocking equipment for the headpiece, and it reads, when this defends, draw a card, then discard a random card. If the card has 6 or more power, is discarded this way, then this gets +1 this turn. So this is essentially a 3 block helmet.
Yeah, and it can help you fix your hand a little bit. The discard is not optional, so and it is random, so there is like some of that brute variance in this card for sure. But I think that you can try to use it in spots where your hand is a little bit awkward, especially against something like a ninja, and then make more blocking decisions after seeing how your hand has changed. And yeah, whenever this blocks 3, I think that will be a theme. If there's like Temper 2 or even Guardwell 2 equipment, that is super, super powerful in Sage. Just like in a 20 life format, your equipment is worth so much more. And yeah, not much else to say here.
Actually, one more thing to say about Buzzard Helm. This card says when you block with this, it gets +1 this turn. If they break the chain and you block with it again, you can draw a discard again, and it'll get +1 again. So you can potentially block for 4 or more with this card, if it lines up.
Okay, yeah, that's really cool. I kind of missed that. I guess like
it doesn't happen often, but this did come up in one of my practice games. I don't exactly know what happened, but they had to close the chain, and I like put the helm back in front of them. They're just like, "What happened?" I'm just like, "Yeah, it just keeps on blocking. It keeps on getting +1."
So I guess it blocks for 2, and then it gets -1 down to 1. Then it blocks for 2, and then so on the turn it can theoretically just keep blocking for 2 if you keep discarding 6s. Okay, interesting. Makes it really hard to get like an additional block later down the road, but you can get an additional hand fix later down the road. So that's okay. It's pretty strong.
Yeah, it's interesting, right?
Yeah.
The next card to talk about will be Predatory Plating. This card's a brute equipment chess piece, and it says instant destroy this, gain a resource. Activate this only if you control a card with 6 or more power, and this has Guardwell, and it blocks for 2. So this is a 2 blocking chest equipment that also generates a resource.
Yeah, this chess piece is nuts, and I think that these 2 equipments make brute pretty interesting in Sage. I think there might be something there. This works really well with Pummel. Potentially, if you want, like you can play a 2 cost and then basically like do the Tunic Pummel thing, because you'll have presumably like a 2 for 6 or a 2 for 7 or something, and then you can Tunic Pummel them, which is really strong. Also, just can give you resources to do like a Wild Ride into a 2 cost or anything like that. I guess one thing I'll mention that has come up in the Reiner deck that I was playing is if you buff let's say you're playing Mandible Claw and you buff your Mandible Claw with +3, that is not a card you control with 6 or more power, because the Mandible Claw itself is the card you control, and that has 3 attack. And the attack proxy created, that is like the chain link, is the thing that has 6 power, but that's not a card, it's an attack. So you need to have like an actual card with 6 powers. That could be like an attack action card. That could be like I've seen some Levi's play like, is it like Hellhammer? It's like a 2 for 6 that when you attack with it, it goes to your banish zone and has blood debt. If you have a weapon that has 6 power, this is just always online. But yeah, if you buff a weapon attack, or I think similarly, if you buff some other card, it needs to buff the card itself, not the attack, I guess, is like kind of the answer.
Okay. I actually didn't know that. That's actually good to know. I probably would have gotten got by somebody, or if I was playing with it, I'll probably get got by myself on this. Huh, that's pretty interesting. Anything else you want to talk about this card?
Not really. Card's really good. I think, yeah, card's just like one of the best chess pieces in the format. So
yeah, the 2 cards we just talked about gives brute 5 block, right? Like just like without Majestics plus equipment, just the rare equipments, they got 5 block just on this with additional abilities. Did you want to talk about the anti-wizard cards too, or do you want to just skip them?
I don't think we really need to. There's like a Spell Void 3 gloves. I think it's good against Kano, and that is like kind of it.
Okay, I think for the rest of the classes, we will skip the Spell Void equipments. A lot of the classes got this kind of effect, but they are going to be sideboard cards, so we'll just skip them for now.
Yeah, I think the brute one is one of the better ones because pitching a 6 is like relatively easy. Some of the other ones are like a little more conditional, a little bit weaker.
The next card I want to talk about is Bear Hug. Man, this card is insane. Like, I'm just kind of always impressed with Bear Hug in this format, and it's so easy to turn on with like all of the brutes. It does require you to be playing like Wrecker Romps as for your blue base, but like it's not that much of a big ask for the brutes to be playing 6 power blues, right?
So yeah, 2 for 7. Play this only if you've pitched a card with 6 or more power. Blocks for 3. Yeah, really good. The blue is like super solid. I think you should probably play the blue and most brutes, and then the red and yellows are also interesting if you're doing enough draw discard. I think aggressive pounce is also one to talk about. It's a 2 for 6 that blocks 3, and if you've intimidated an opponent this turn, it gets go again. So this is like exclusively Rhinar, and you kind of need to be in like a wild ride type Rhinar deck that is yellow heavy. But go again on a 2 for 6 is pretty solid.
Okay, okay. This is not a card I played with because I haven't played Rhinar specifically, but yeah, that does sound pretty good actually.
It's like a little bit of like you have to figure out how you're going to make this card work for you, but I think it's like pretty good. You probably don't want it in a claw build. I find this like too hard to do discard or intimidate and then like claw this and something without Savage Sash. It's just like too many resources. But like I think Meataxe is like pretty interesting in Rhinar as like a 2 for 5 intimidate is like a pretty strong weapon and can turn on beaten trackers, and then this has go again. So you can do those kinds of turns with this card.
Okay, yeah, that is pretty gross. It's only the red one that's probably good with this, right? You don't really want the yellow or the blues.
Yeah, maybe the blue. I don't know. It's a blue. Like you don't have that many blue sixes to choose from, so maybe you could play it. But it's mostly the red one that's exciting. Yeah.
Okay, that makes sense. You gonna move on to the Guardians next?
Yeah.
There's not that many cards I'm excited about in Guardian. There's a lot of like very situational cards in the common and the rares, but one card in particular that you said you want to talk about was Magmatic Carapace.
Yeah. So this is block 2 guard wall and chess piece. It says whenever you play an aura, you may tap this and pay a resource, and if you do, you create a seismic surge token. Guardwall 2, already really good, and you can potentially make some amount of seismic surges. I think that this is like most obviously good in Pleiades, but even like Valda has a few auras that she plays. It doesn't have to be an aura of suspense. So yeah, just finding ways to get like extra seismic surges in addition to just like Guardwall 2, which is already good, is really, really solid. I think maybe lots of Guardians can just play this just for the block value, but if you're also playing some auras, then it gets even better.
Yeah, it's not too hard for any Guardian to just play like Edge of their Seats or the 2 cost variant. That'll probably work better with this card. And yeah, just making a seismic surge and being able to use your floating resources is pretty powerful.
Yeah, definitely very good. Also, Guardian equipment and also cares about seismic surges. We have Basalt Boots. This is Temper 1, and if you control a seismic surge token, this gets +1 defense. So again, I think this is like primarily a Valda card, but Temper 2 just super, super strong. We did have Civic Steps, and the Quicken is like sometimes fine, sometimes a liability. And I think for a deck like Valda, Basalt Boots is just like a really big upgrade.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I was gonna talk about Civic Boots as well. Civic Boots just being a temper 2 all the time is like very reliable, but yeah, as you did say, the Quicken token sometimes is a pretty big liability, and depending on who you play against, it's a bigger liability. Like you really don't want to give brutes Quicken tokens.
Yeah, exactly. I think probably only really relevant for Valda, but I think it is a reasonable upgrade for her.
Okay, that's fair. That's fair. I think the rest of the cards are not that interesting. I guess a small shout out would be Rites of Earth Lore. I was thinking maybe this is a Eliath card, as it's a 0 cost for 3 Chain Ender that you don't have to attack on that turn to make a setup turn. It still feels a little bit too gimmicky for me, but it might be okay. It's like it's almost there.
Yeah. I think the card that stands out to me, I'm not so high on Rites of Earth Lore. I think taking your action point is a little tough, and Lyath typically doesn't really have go again. But I will shout out Valahai Riven. It's a yellow Guardian 3 block. It says when this defends, you can pay up to 3 resources and create that many Seismic Surge tokens. Valda card only, but 3 Seismic Surges does give you Dominate. So you kind of get to just like it is a block card. It is like a yellow block card, so that is some downside. But I think being able to block, pitch the blue that you were going to pitch anyways, and just give your thing dominate is pretty solid.
Okay, okay, that makes sense. Do you think this is good in Sage, or do you think this is good in like CC?
Probably both. I mean, I guess I don't. The answer is like I don't know how good Valda is in Sage, but like Basalt Boots, Magmatic Carapace, and this card are all pretty good support for her. So I think she is. I think like overall the Guardians maybe didn't get a whole lot, which is like fine because I think Guardian was already very good and probably is still very good. But I think that Valda in particular did get a fair bit of support and is a potential. I think before there were like the Oldham or Bravo, the new Bravo were like probably just the best Guardians, and I think Valda has potential, I guess.
Okay, okay, and that makes sense. That makes sense. So worth trying out, right?
You have 21 life when you play Valda.
Yeah, you do get the one extra life in this format. Yeah, we'll see if it's actually good or not, though. Only time will tell. But let's move on and talk about the ninjas next. I'm actually not sure if any of these ninja cards are that appealing to me. I guess the one card I do want to talk about will be Become the Cup. Become the Cup is a 0 cost, 3 power, 2 block at red, and it reads, as you play this, choose a color. This gets the chosen color. Go again. So this looks like a Zen card to me. You're able to name blue off Become the Cup. So you get to play a head jab that turns into a blue card, which means you can transcend your cheese without actually having to play a blue, which is a pretty big upside. So this is like a pretty big upgrade for Zen.
Yeah, I agree. I think Become the Cup is a really good upgrade for Zen. And I guess since we're talking about Become the Cup, I think this is also an interesting CC card with Prismatic Leyline. It gains the color as well. So if you name blue and you have red blue, you get the red buff and the blue buff from Leyline. So this would get like +4 from Prismatic Leyline. So I think Become the Cup very interesting in CC2. In Sage, I think it's a Zen card.
Yeah, Prismatic Leyline being able to buff this card for CC is kind of interesting, right? Like, you might sometimes name yellow to make sure you get to use up that +2 on the yellow side and then play like a blue card on that turn anyways. Because if you're a ninja, you're probably not naturally playing that many yellow cards.
Yeah, exactly. So very flexible. Head jabs are already like kind of playable in Ninja, and if it lets you unlock a 0 for 6, that's a pretty big game. So yeah, Become the Cup is a very cool card, and I think it's relevant in both formats. I guess also in Sage, there's like a couple equipment worth mentioning. There's the doubled cross strap. This is Arcane Barrier 1, instant destroy it, gain a resource, activate only if you hit 2 or more times. Just like get a resource, AB1, super good. Into like a Rune Blade or something. This is probably like your AB of choice.
Do you think you don't? Oh, I see. This is your AB of choice. You'd probably be playing Garland of Springs or Blossom of Springs as well, right?
You probably played the what is it? The Tiger chess piece. It's Battle Worn 1. If you played a Tiger this turn, you can break it and get
Oh, Blood Scent.
Blood Scent, yeah.
Oh yeah, that makes so much sense. Yeah, I forgot the ninjas had the full on the 3 pieces of equipment that cares about the Crouching Tiger.
Yeah, it's like super strong because even if you have no other tiger synergy, the boots makes you the tiger, the gloves gives the tiger +2, and the chest gives you a resource. So you just wait till you need the resource, and you're like, I cash in all my equipment, I get a free attack for 2 and a resource, and it's like pretty powerful. So yeah, I think that's still all very strong. And I guess the gloves, I don't know. There's an attack reaction, destroy a dagger you control that's not an active chain link. Target ninja attack action card on the active chain link gets +1 power. And when the chain link resolves, if the attack didn't hit, destroy this, meaning the gloves. This is kind of like Flick Knives. It's also Blade Break 1 for Syndra and in Sage. It does cost a resource though. And honestly, I'm not sure why to play Syndra other than like over Fi is like kind of the thing. Like I think Searing Ember Blade is a better rate. You have to pay 1 to get the Flick Knives to get the +1 from your like Syndra ability and play this weird mini game, whereas Fi just gets to like do a Phoenix Flame and get the Phoenix Flame for free. So I think this makes Syndra make a little more sense in Sage, but I think that she still has problems.
Yeah, this if I'm playing Syndra for this card, I'm not interested. Yeah, I think that's yeah.
Yeah, I think she got meaningfully better. I think she's just still the worst Draconic Ninja, basically.
Yeah, Fi does seem like a very, very strong ninja in this set, actually.
Yeah, agreed.
Moving on, the next class to talk about will be the warrior class. So all of the equipment here is basically the same cards. They're something of unity. They're the head, chest, arms, and legs, and they all do the same thing. So they block for one, and they have temper, but they also have unity. It says when this defends together with a card from your hand, this gets +1 block until end of turn. This means that warrior has a full fridge, just like all the time, no matter which warrior you play, they just get access to a full on fridge because it's not hard to block with this plus a card from hand.
Yeah, we've been saying it a lot. Temper 2 is really good, and technically it is conditional temper 2, but as you said, the condition is very easy to meet. So yeah, these equipment are very powerful.
Yeah, I guess the one thing is that like because you have to add a card from your hand, it gets a little bit awkward blocking these like head jab type cards, right? Like if it's only attacking for 3, you're gonna be kind of stranded with these equipment on your board.
Yeah, there is like finding the opportunities to cash it in. So like they're really good at blocking 5s and 4s, or I guess bigger than that also. But yeah, the small attacks they don't work as well against.
I was not impressed with the commons and the rares for warriors. Well, what about you? Do you like any of these cards here?
I think to sum it all up, these are Hala cards. They put +1 counters and they care about sharpening, or they either one of them sharpens and one of them cares about having sharpened. And I think that is relevant for Hala since her whole thing is sharpening. And these cards probably make sense in the context of Hala, but Hala is not legal until I want to say March when we get the Armory deck. And I think without those, these are kind of just like, yeah, these are plants for Hala. There's not really anything else to say about them, I think.
The one thing that I'm kind of like sad about is that we don't have a young Hala either, right? So it's not even going to be Silver Age playable.
Yeah, I think these are CC cards for Hala.
Okay, that makes sense.
And I think they're decent CC cards for Hala, but yeah, we can talk about that another time.
Yeah, that's fair, that's fair. Then we'll move down the list and talk about the Mechanologist cards. So I guess the equipment first, we get a kind of like a 3 different equipments for 3 different heroes is what actually no, that's not true. How do I even want to say this?
I mean, the Puffin arms are pretty good. It's Temper 1 arms, and it is a base, so you can equip Evos to it. It says this and cogs you control. Sorry, tap this and a cog you control this turn. It gets +1. So again, the theme of Temper 2 being pretty good. I think Puffin has other problems in this format, but these are good arm pieces for Puffin. And I think the other ones are kind of, I guess Max gets Guardwall too if you control a Hyperdriver in the chest slot. That's okay. But yeah, they're not like the most exciting. I think overall, the mech cards are not the most exciting for Sage.
Yeah, I agree with you. Well, I think one of the cards they do want to kind of talk about would be Blast Rig. So this is a rare Mechanology attack action, 3 block, 1 power, and it has boost, but it has Evo upgrade. This gets +1 for each Evo you have equipped, which kind of means that with the inclusion of the cycle of rare Evos that got printed in this set, it means that this is a 0 for 5 go again for Teklovossen. So there is a chance that Teklovossen might have some game in this format.
Yeah, that's fair. I've been viewing the Teklovossen. I think Teklovossen's pretty interesting, and I think that Boost Teklovossen in CC seems interesting to me. It's like a deck that I've been working on a teeny bit. Maybe it is also good in Sage. I'm a little more dubious about that just because like your equipment's weak, and I think equipment's so powerful in Sage, and boosting is like I don't know how you beat the Guardians, for example, with like a boost Teklovossen deck, but yeah, Blastrick is a very powerful card.
Okay, yeah, that's a very reasonable take. I don't know how you don't get fatigued by a Guardian if you play these boost cards. So yeah, the mechs have a little bit of a wall to climb in this format.
And I think the other card that I will mention is Teklo Trebuchet 2000. This is a rare Mechanologist attack action. Blocks 3, attacks for 1. It has boost. It says when this attacks, the next attack you boost this combat chain gets +2. So it's basically a 0 for 3 boost card. You do need to follow it up with another boost card that you actually boost, and it has to be on the combat chain, so you can't close the combat chain. So notable restrictions, but this card is just really good. 0 to 60 was already a mech staple for boost decks, and this is like arguably better blue 0 to 60. So I think this is good in Sage. I think this is good in CC. I don't really think that mech gets there in Sage currently, is like kind of my gut feeling on this, but this is a very good card.
Yeah, in CC, this card just is a huge upgrade for Dash IO, right? Because
Mm-hmm.
this card hitting for 1 means that it triggers Boom Grenade still, and the next card gets way harder to block as well.
Yeah, it's super super good. I think you can probably just fit it in like the blue throttle slot or something. Like we're already playing like blue T-bone and stuff, so yeah, this card's pretty good.
Yeah, natural upgrades. So unfair.
Want to go to Ranger cards next?
Yeah, Ranger cards. I think to start off with this Ranger cards, most of these Ranger cards feel like Riptide cards, right?
Yes, there's like the trap equipment and a whole bunch of traps that aren't defense reactions. They are non-attack actions with other effects. It is cool to give Riptide more diversity in his traps. I think some of them are pretty strong. Maybe we can talk about 1 or 2 of them. I've heard the impression that Riptide is like closer than people thought he would be in Sage, but I still think that there are better things to be doing in Sage than playing Riptide, is like kind of my take.
That is fair. And as a note, the equipment, I'm gonna just talk about one of them, which will be the concealed nerve gas. This is the Ranger equipment chest trap. It is cloaked, and it says when this is equipped sorry, while this is equipped face down, when an attack with go again hits you, destroy this and create a frailty token under each opponent's control. This is a trap, so when this does trigger, Riptide does deal 1 damage to your opponent. So that's how that interaction works with these new equipment with Riptide. So all of the other equipments kind of work the same way. So if you trigger a trap, Riptide will still do the 1 damage. So it is kind of cool, but this itself doesn't block, so it's kind of depressing.
I think the inertia one is pretty strong. Turns out when you get to inertia, your opponent get rid of their arsenal. It's pretty good. I feel like we've kind of learned this in CC, and I think it's the same thing here. So if you like ping them for 1 and they lose a card, that is a ton of value. So yeah, and the condition for it is attack greater than its base. They're all the same as the like inertia, blood rot, and frailty traps for the condition. So yeah, I think those chess pieces are cool. Frail Swing Line is probably the most interesting of the trap cards. This is a blue block 3 non-attack action. It creates a frailty token under target hero's control, so pretty good against like dual wielders, and it has go again. And then it has the text, when this defends an attack with less power than its base, his controller discards a card. Block 3, discard a card and ping your opponent for 1 with Riptide is a ton of value on a blue block 3, and you do need to get like frailties or something, some way to make this work. Notably, the defense reaction that gives -3 won't work because this checks on defend, and then you would play the reaction later, so you would miss the trigger. Yeah, Frail Swing Line is like, it's a very powerful effect on a blue block 3 is what I'll say.
I think the biggest target for this card will be Ravenous Rabble.
Yeah.
So if you can block a Ravenous Rabble with Frail Swing Line without like any setup, you just get to just blow your opponent up for no reason.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think this is a card that could exist I don't know that many of the Rangers in Sage right now want blues, but since it is a blue block 3, it can just kind of slot into a Ranger deck. And if you have decent frailty support, this is a card you could play. So like Riptide gets the trigger, but the effect is strong enough that this is a card worth keeping in mind for any Ranger. Maybe not right now, but down the road, I think.
That's fair. Yeah. Frail Swing Line, it's going to be a card that once Ranger starts getting popular, people are going to start playing it. And oh my God, I do not want to lose to this card.
Yeah, agreed. Probably the best Ranger card we did talk about on a previous episode, but I'll mention it briefly. It's just Bolton Boots, Battle Worn 1, attack reaction, pay a resource, target arrow with attack greater than its base gets go again. 1 block and action point, even if it costs a resource, is just a really impressive boot slot. One of the better boots in the format, I think. And I think this is a pretty big get for Ranger. It does the resource is like meaningful since I think Lexi and Azalea often have wanted to be pretty redline. So there is like a bit of a build around clause there. But yeah, they're very good.
Yeah, if you're already playing blues or yellows, then it's gonna go up in value, right?
Yeah, exactly. And there's not like the most competition for this card. So like I think before you were just playing the Blade Beckoner boots. So yeah, this is like a pretty clear upgrade, I think.
Okay, fair enough, fair enough. You want to talk about Runeblade cards? I guess before we talk about the Runeblade cards, I guess we quickly mentioned that Chain got banned for at least for the first season of the Silver Age tournaments.
Yeah, I did think Chain was the best deck. LSS apparently agreed and decided to ban him for the first event or first season of events. So yeah, no Chain.
I am so glad there is no Chain because I feel like most of this format was just gonna be how do I beat Chain, and if I can't beat Chain, I was gonna play Chain.
Yeah, I think they either needed to ban a bunch of cards to try and bring Chain in line, but his hero ability is really, really powerful, so that's challenging, or do what they did, which was ban him. And honestly, I'm fine with them banning him.
Yeah, and for how the bannings work in this format, he's gonna be back right by the time like 6 months from now or something like that.
Yeah, next season he'll be back, and there will be community. I think it's two community bans or three, two or three community bans plus an LSS ban after they've seen all the community bans, and then you can't ban the same hero 2 seasons in a row. So next season, Chain will be legal for sure. And then let's say like the third season, so 2 seasons from now, Chain could be banned again. And if he gets banned, he's banned for 2 seasons instead of just one. So every time a hero gets banned, it's banned for one additional season compared to whatever it was last banned. So the bans get progressively longer on these heroes.
Okay, okay. I actually didn't know that part. That's actually kind of cool. We'll see how that works out. They'll probably change it by the time like the third banning happens on the same hero.
Yeah.
Because that means this format's been out for 2 years or something, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a long time from now.
Yeah, we'll see what happens. It's definitely a cool experiment. I'm very interested to see how that and the community voting system will work out in practice. But yeah, we'll see. Okay, Runeblade cards. I think the main thing they got are equipment. We have gloves, Beckoning Haunt. These are Guardwell 2 gloves. That's like kind of it. They do have an action, pay X, X, and a resource. Destroy this. Return target aura with cost X from your graveyard to your hand. Notably, no go again. So you can pay a resource to get a 0 cost aura like a Malefic back. It's not nothing. That usually means you're not doing your Reaping Blade swing, though. So it's like a little bit sus. I think this is basically just Guardwell 2 gloves.
Yeah, it might be like okay for Vincent.
Yeah.
Like if they really need the auras, that this might be pretty cool. I guess one way to give this card go again was Chain, but that's gone.
Yeah. Chain could give this go again. So yeah, I don't know. Guardwell 2 gloves is really good. So don't get too hung up on the ability. It's probably good to remember that you have it. I'm sure that there's like going to be a spot where it's relevant, but for the most part, it's kind of whatever.
Other equipment to talk about will be Blackstone Greaves. This is a Runeblade Legs equipment with Temper 1, but if you've dealt arcane damage this turn, this gets +1 block value. I guess there's 2 ways to do this, to do arcane damage during your opponent's turn. I guess like the natural way. There's the Sigil of Suffering, which is when you block with it, deal 1 arcane damage to your opponent, and then if you do, it gets +1 extra block value. And then there's a new card called Weeping Battleground. This is a Runeblade defense reaction at red blocked for 3 and cost 0. And it says you may banish an aura from your graveyard if you do deal 1 arcane damage to target hero. So this is essentially just another Sigil of Suffering to turn on the Blackstone Greaves.
Yep, I think it's very strong.
Yeah, this is very strong, but also a little bit weak in the sense of like if your opponent prevents the arcane, this also doesn't get the additional block value. So they do have the option to like pay 1 to kind of like quote unquote break the Blackstone Greaves, right?
Yeah, I think you're looking for an opportunity where they're tapped out, or at the very least, they have like a card and none floating that they were probably hoping to arsenal, and then you make them spend a whole card to do that.
Mhm. Do you think the Runeblades will be ending up playing the Blackstone Greaves, or do you think they're gonna play like a different like piece instead?
Think Blackstone Greaves is probably still generally the best equipment they have available. Sigil Suffering is just like super good, and I think in Runeblade decks kind of by default because when it's like a bit conditional, but when you do the thing, it's a 0 for 5, and 0 for 5 D-React is just crazy in this format. So yeah, I do think that you'll probably play these. I don't think there is a whole lot of competition. I think you'll either play these or like maybe like Sutcliffe's to get the go again. But I think it'll be matchup dependent. I think if you want an armor boots, I suspect that this is probably better than Blade Beckoner.
Yeah, I'm still confused on why the Sigil Suffering is even legal in Sage. Like, that to me felt like a card that they should have got banned with like Flick Flack, Sink Below, Fate Foreseen, all of those cards.
Yeah, I kind of agree. I'm not totally sure, but
Why does Runeblade get a 4 block D react? Oh my god.
yeah,
Uh, Chain didn't need this card.
no, I don't think so.
Anything else you want to talk about Runeblade before moving on to the Wizard cards?
No, I don't think so. Let's go to Wizard. I think the Wizard equipment is mostly pretty unexciting. There's like AB2 boots, always good to have AB2. The gloves could maybe be a sideboard card. They're Blade Break 0. When this leaves the arena, destroy target aura token. So maybe if there's like very high value auras, this is a good card to keep in mind. I don't know if there's anything that like super jumps out that is like worth doing that for in the format right now, but it is good to know that you have access to it.
Yeah, well, Gloves of Erasure does blow up like Enigma auras, right? After you block with it.
That's true. Okay. Yeah, anti enigma tech. Okay. Okay. I missed that. That's very relevant. Okay.
Yeah, that's pretty relevant. Pretty relevant. Be able to kill some more of the ward stuff, so then you can actually like pop off on your own turn. Is pretty important.
The chess piece is interesting. It's Blade Break 0. When this leaves the arena, gain 2 resources. We have 1 resource in Spellfire Cloak already, and I think the timing of it being anytime is generally going to be better. But 2 resources on a chess piece is good. I just don't necessarily know what you're spending it on is kind of the problem. But yeah, if you can find a good way to use this, it is like 2 resources is strong. It's just not super clear to me what you're doing with it.
Hmm. Honestly, just like all of these equipments from this for the wizard in this set kind of makes me feel like we're going to get a new wizard soon that cares about um having equipment leave the arena.
Yeah, perhaps. Yeah, they're definitely interesting, but they feel a little bit. They feel like they could be plants. I agree.
I guess one thing to talk about will be a new wizard aura token. It's called Sigil of Fate. So a bunch of cards will make Sigil of Fates, and these are obviously a token. And it says when this leaves the arena, opt one, and at the beginning of your action phase, destroy this. So there's a token sigil that we can make now.
Yeah, so I guess the opt one could be relevant if there's like a Blaze somewhere, but currently Blaze is only a young hero and is printed at Majestic, so not legal in Silver Age. But if we ever
Mhm.
got CC or Silver Age Blaze, these could suddenly become a lot more interesting. And I think for CC, the main interaction is these are sigils that leave the battlefield, so they work with the gloves, the Aether Conduit or whatever. I don't think that makes any of the sigil cards particularly exciting right now, but something to keep in mind.
I think one card that might make these cards cool will be a Glyph Overlay.
Perhaps, yeah.
Glyph Overlay is a card printed in Rosetta. It's a rare. It's a 1 cost wizard action, and it says deal X plus 3 arcane damage target hero, where X is the number of aura permanents you control with sigil in their name. There's a new card in this set called Future Sight, which makes 3 Sigil of Fate tokens, which basically means that this is like a 1 cost 3 pump for exactly Glyph Overlay, right? Because it makes 3 Sigil tokens on your board.
Yeah, it's okay.
So it's like we can I was like looking into like trying to put like a Kano deck together that like future sights into Glyph Overlay. It didn't work, long story short, but you know, if it really lines up, it could be a deck.
Yeah, yeah. It's something to keep in mind for sure. I think that essentially like having ways to amp is pretty interesting.
yeah, being able to do a big arcane damage turn would be is kind of like what we need to figure out how to do in the current Sage format for the wizards. So
I also want to shout out Glyph Power Spell. It's a rare. It's a block 3, and it only comes in red. It's a 2 for 4 arcane to any target. If you control a card with sigil on its name, instead deals 6 damage. 2 for 6 is the best rate that we've seen on a spell, and we've seen how powerful the 3 for 6s are, even in CC, honestly. So probably mostly an Acilio card at the moment, but 2 for 6 arcane is, I think, a pretty big get for that hero. So I don't know if this is enough to make Acilio good, but it is a good card for Acilio.
there really isn't that many. Is the only sigil that doesn't leave the battlefield right away in Acilio?
I believe so.
Okay. I don't know exactly for sure, but yeah, that's kind of my guess as well. Okay, enough about the wizards. We'll quickly touch on the illusionist cards, but from what I can see so far, I'm not impressed with any of the commons or rares from for the illusionists. What about you?
The equipment are pretty interesting to me. They're all ward 1, and when they're destroyed, the head makes a ponder, the chest makes a vigor, the gloves make a might, and the boots make an agility. A lot of these are just like 2 value equipments, which is pretty notable. The ponder in particular seems really strong. I don't know if you play all of these. The agility also seems pretty strong. So I think the equipments are kind of interesting.
But you don't really get to choose when to pop them, right?
It's true. It's true.
It's like the current arm piece that the illusionists play that makes a spectral shield. That one almost always gets its value because it's like a pseudo block one, like it's a gain one. Whereas like if you can't use the vigor token and like you get a vigor token, it's quite awful, right?
Yeah, that's fair. I don't know. I think it's solid. The might seems good. It's like just like two value on gloves that is maybe you just care more about the defense. I think the ponder also seems good to me.
Yeah, the ponder one definitely just getting a full card feels pretty good, but I don't know the vigor and the agility. I'm just like, ooh, if I can't convert these tokens, then was there just like better equipment I could be playing?
Yeah, I think that's true. I guess you have a 3 for 7 that doesn't have phantasm and gets +1 for each card with 6 or more power defending it. So you have like an anti-popper attack. 3 for 7's an okay rate in Sage. Maybe you can play this card as a sideboard card, but I think you might also just have better options.
Yeah,
This power of make believe. It's like okay.
it's okay. Yeah, I we'll see. We don't really have an illusionist that wants to play these cards. Like I feel like the illusionist in the current Sage format really just wants to be doing other things. Like Enigma just
Mhm.
is playing bigger cards than these, right?
Yeah, I think you mostly have better options. So yeah, you want to talk about the assassin cards? I'm sure you've looked at these quite a bit.
Oh yeah, this is definitely the list of cards I've looked at the most. I guess the cycle of equipment that the assassins got is basically all the same thing. They're 2 block blade break, but then they all read when this is equipped from anywhere other than your graveyard, put a -1 counter on it. This means that when you start the game, it starts with a -1 counter on it. But they also have the ability of while this card's in your graveyard, at the start of your turn, you may destroy 2 silvers you control, and if you do, equip this. So the first time you block with it, it blocks for 1, and then when you buy it back, it blocks for 2. This is a pretty big upgrade in general for the buyback equipment series. And there's one for each piece, so you can actually like choose which one you want to play.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. And yeah, armor is good. So
I think the headpiece Graven Cow is actually just like gonna be best in slot for most assassins. This pairs really well with a new card that also got spoiled here called Excessive Blood Loss.
mhm.
So I'm gonna read Excessive Blood Loss first. So this card is a 1 cost for 5 3 block assassin attack action. At red, you're contracted to banish your opponent's red cards, and whenever you complete this contract, you make a silver token. And then it says when this hits a hero, you banish top card of your deck, and if it's red, repeat this process once. So you get to mill 2 cards from your opponent if it's red, essentially, and if it's current completing contract, which means this 1 card can create 2 silver tokens. And that means that you can immediately buy back like a Graven's Cowl for all the assassins. And if the format is gonna be like aggro heavy, where you want to be blocking your opponent, blocking with one with Graven Cow, attacking your opponent with an excessive blood loss, like Red Line Briar. If this hits, you get to buy back Raven Cow and block for 2 immediately. So that's just like a pretty powerful.
It'll be blocked for one. It'll be blocked for one, right? Because it comes back with a -1 counter, but still
No,
very.
it comes back with no -1 counters.
Oh, I see. So it starts as one, and then it goes to two if you buy it back. Okay, I misunderstood this card.
Yeah, so
I thought it was the reverse.
if you can keep buying it back, it's actually very, very powerful.
Okay, yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so if you play two excessive blood losses in Sage, that means like it's just gonna come back twice if it's gonna hit against an aggro deck. And this is a big upgrade for someone like new. It's a pretty big upgrade for just like anyone who kind of wants to block in Assassins.
Yeah, that makes a ton of sense.
Honestly, those are just the two cards that are the most interesting for the Sage format. Not particularly happy with any of the other stuff.
Yeah. I guess like Mist Hunter, the Chi Banish card, I think is one that reads powerful. I can imagine spots where this is completely game winning. I think it is hard to get to those spots. And there's also spots early in the game where this just doesn't do anything. So I'm not so sure that I'm like super sold on Mist Hunter. I don't think it's like it won't see any play, but I don't think it's quite the silver bullet that it seems. It still has to hit, and then they have to have Chi in their deck, and then
imagine if this card was legal when New and Zen was in CC.
Yeah, I think in CC it's a lot more interesting because it also like turns off Traverse the Universe. But in Sage, I don't know. If there's a bunch of Mystic Heroes, I could see you playing this card. But yeah, I just don't think that. I've seen some people very excited about the card, so I wanted to mention it. But I think it is less powerful than it reads.
Yeah, definitely. But yeah, if a new Mystic Hero comes into CC, then definitely this card's gonna see play again.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, so you want to move on and talk about the next class?
Yeah, we can talk about Gravy or Necromancer.
Oh, whoa, Yuki. There's a Bard card.
Yeah, okay, next one. There's no Sage Legal Bard. They did print a Bard card. Every border got a card, which is kind of cool.
Okay, I'm sorry. We'll talk about Gravy Bones.
I think the biggest thing is new equipment. Aryan Crown, 2-block Blade Break Helmet, discard an ally. You can also, as an action, discard an ally, destroy this, draw a card. Either 2-block or kind of a gold effect, but as an action and doesn't use Gravy Bones, so pretty good.
Do you think this card is going to replace Crown of Dominion for Gravy Bones? Because it's basically a gold, right?
That's an interesting question. Maybe.
It's kind of close, right? Like it's basically like you having that gold to start the game in CC means that you can activate Gravy to like discard, draw to fix your hand like earlier, so then you can like start going off earlier. But now this card lets you do that, and if you don't need that quote unquote gold, it blocks for 2 as well.
That's true. The timing is worse, and you also discard draw rather than draw discard. But yeah, okay. I could see it. This is great in Sage and maybe a consideration in CC.
Okay. You want to talk about all the equipment, or because they're all kind of good, but
Mournful Casket, temper 1 chest. If an ally's been put into your graveyard this turn, this gets +1. So if you Gravy, it's temper 2 chest. We've talked enough about temper 2. And then we have Battle Worn Gloves. Destroy this, return an ally from your graveyard to your hand, then discard a card. This mostly will enable like tipples and stuff like that. It's an interesting piece of equipment too.
That's kind of interesting. That is very interesting. Okay. I was kind of low on the arm piece, but you say it that way, that kind of makes it more interesting. And then Scuttle Toes. This is a Necromancer equipment legs, Arcane Barrier equipment, and it has instant pay 2, destroy this, untap target ally you control, destroy at the beginning of the end phase. So you get to use an ally again with this card.
Pairs great with Avasti.
Avasti? Oh, I guess because it gives go again.
Yeah, go again. Then you can swing the ally twice. So yeah, no, I think the new upgrades or the new like upgrades to his Sage equipment, super meaningful. The in-deck cards are not so exciting, I think.
Actually, no. There's one card that's pretty exciting, I think.
Mm.
So I think the card that was really impressive when I was watching people play was Beneath the Surface. So this
Mm.
is a Pirate Necromancer defense reaction that blocks for 5, costs 2 at yellow. And this is Watery Grave. And this says, while this is defending, when it's put into your graveyard from the arena, turn it face down. So essentially, when you play it, it will go into your graveyard face down.
Okay, okay. Yeah, that's fair. And then you can like turn an ally into a blocking card or something, or even just like pitching a card to block for 5 from the graveyard is as a reaction. Pretty good. Okay, yeah.
Yeah. This card was pretty interesting. I was impressed because like if your opponent like closes the combat chain, I'm pretty sure you can just play this card.
Yeah.
If you block with a blue first.
Yeah, okay.
And I guess you can also activate Gravy and discard a blue and then play this card from your graveyard as well. So and it turns your allies into 5 blocks, which is insane, right?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, Beneath the Surface does seem good. I sort of glazed over this one, but you're right. It is good.
Then we'll move on. These are some other pirate-esque cards. Skywarden number 161803. This card is kind of interesting.
Yeah, it's like a baby golden Skywarden.
Yeah, it is a baby Golden Skywarden. This card, you do need Golden Skywarden for Puffin, so like this is like the Sage equivalent. I kind of wish that they printed like one more of this, so then you can have like 4 copies in your deck instead of just the 2.
Yeah, it's 0 for 3, block 2, galvanize. It gets +1. If you galvanize a golden cog, you get a gold. But it's limited to 1, unlike Golden Skywarden. So yeah, it's a sweet effect. It definitely helps with the gold economy in Puffin.
And then the next card is Shallow Water Shark. Shallow Water Shark Harpoon. This is a 2-cost Pirate Ranger attack action. It's an arrow and attacks for 5 and blocks for 3. And this card's pretty powerful. It says, if you've activated a cannon this turn, this gets when this hits a hero, destroy a card in their arsenal. And if you do, create a gold token. So this is your Conquer of the High Seas Light?
Yeah, this card's great. I think this is like CC Marlin staple and also good in Sage Cannon Marlin. I don't think Sage Cannon Marlin's very good. There's a whole bunch of block cards running around, but this is certainly a card you would play in that deck.
Yeah, and we're missing all of the majestic disruption arrows for Sage, right?
Yeah, you kind of like, it's like, what are your threats? And it's like, well, it's like blue, yellow, red fin harpoon, and you're playing like 3-card 8s, and you have to like go through hoops to load them. And it's like, yeah, that's not good enough for Sage, even with the disruption. This card is good enough for Sage, but it's when this is your only threat, it's not good enough.
Yeah, we need like all the pirate heroes except for Gravy. They just kind of like Puffin and Marlin just needs like a couple of more cards for themselves, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I kind of don't want to spend too much time on these other pirate cards. I think that they like kind of are niche. Break open the chest can get you some gold if there's yellow in arsenal. That's like kind of nice. Lighten the load is a 4 go again, and you can use it with like a gravy ally or destroy extra items to get go again. These are kind of relevant. I think ultimately, yeah, Puffin and Marlin just have too many problems, and maybe you can play these in Gravy as like supplements as well. But I think Gravy also, I think the pirate heroes in general have a little bit of trouble with like the gold economy thing because you don't have access to Hook and the Majestics.
Yeah, and you also just don't have the time to make the gold tokens, right?
Yeah, the game's too fast. I think like the pirate heroes just need like Treasure Island, and then they might be playable in this format. But yeah.
Yeah, that's exactly what I was thinking too. I made like a giraffe Puffin deck, and I'm like, wait, why is this deck not working? And I'm like, there's no Treasure Island.
Yeah. I think unfortunately, like, yeah, there's some pirate support, but it's just not really good enough. So
man, we just need a headpiece that's Treasure Island. Okay, let's move on and talk about the light cards. Duty Bound Blitz?
Yeah, Duty Bound Blitz is a hell of a card. 0 for 5, block 2, light card at red. It says, play this card only if a yellow card is put in your soul this turn. Go again. 0 for 5 go agains are really good. Like, surprise. 0 for 4 go agains are already good, and you have a 0 for 5 go again. It is conditional. I don't think the condition is that hard to meet. Probably doesn't make Bolton good in Blitz, but this is a hell of a card in CC.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say is like, okay, Bolton needs a little bit more It needs a weapon for Bolton to be good in Sage, but man, for CC this card, I don't want to play against this card. Oh, 5 is so much.
And then they can also play the yellows as a 0 for 4. It's crazy.
Oh, oh no! Why? Why do they get? They get 6 copies of a 0 for 5 go again and a 0 for 4 go. Oh my god, no! You, Ellie must be happy about this card.
Oh yeah, yeah. I think Bolton's pretty interesting for CC, and I did try building it for Sage. I think there's better aggro decks. Is kind of my feeling.
Well, we do miss out on his weapon, right? Is it Raiden? Yeah, and that because that's a majestic.
Yeah, via if you have a good Via the Vanguard turn, you can do cool stuff, but that's 2 cards in the deck, and sometimes you don't draw it. And yeah, there's just better stuff to be doing in the format, I think.
Okay, then let's move on and talk about the shadow cards.
Yeah, there's a Vincent card.
There's a Temper 2 equipment with Blood Debt.
Yeah, probably good for if you want to play Leviathan Sage, you probably play this. There's a 0 for 4 D-React that's yellow, 0 for 4 D-Reacts, and has Blood Debt. So another Leviathan card. This card's more interesting in CC because when you flip Plasma Fet, you can play it from Banish, which is really strong. In Sage, it's just a 0 for 4 Blood Debt D-React, which is like fine. She does have the Brute equipment. Levia kind of scares me because of Blood Debt, but maybe there's something here. I'm a little skeptical.
But unlike in CC, you can't turn off your Blood Debt, right? Like,
well, you can. You just banish a 6.
no, but like I'm saying, like in CC, once you have 13 life, you
Yeah,
can like
yeah.
turn off your Blood Debt. Like, but then in Sage, you're gonna be like, what do you do when you miss one time, right?
Yeah.
Okay, then other than that, there's nothing really much to talk about with the shadow cards.
Yep. Let's go to the elemental cards. Oh, okay. Arc bending. Elemental Ranger, action, arrow, attack, 1 for 5, block 3. When this attacks, if a lightning or elemental attack would deal damage as combat chain, instead deals that much damage +1. Lightning Bond, if a lightning card was pitched to play this gets go again. Arcbending is a card that reads incredibly powerfully and is somehow like maybe just not that good. For one, it needs the combat chain, which is like fine. But the biggest thing is that the lightning bond is really awkward because you have to pitch the lightning card to play this card. And so this means that this is like a pretty good arsenal. You can play it out of arsenal. If you pitch a lightning card, it gets go again. But if you like activate Death Dealer, you pitch a resource, then you load this, well, you're not pitching a lightning card to play this card. So the go again on this is actually like pretty hard to get. And it also needs the combat chain to get the Anthem effect. And it only works on elemental and lightning cards. I think if you're playing a Lexi deck that is like lightning and also plays like an okay amount of blues, you probably play this card. But I read this card and was super impressed. And the more I played with it, I'm like, this is just okay.
Okay, yeah. The part that you have to pitch a lightning card to play this card is probably, yeah, that does sound like the worst part about this card.
Yeah, like you can do like Blossom of Spring to Death Dealer and load this and pitch a blue and then it gets go again. There's like workarounds, but they're a little janky. I don't know. You can load this in with Bullseye Bracers and then it gets go again. But then you probably want to activate your bow, so you close the chain. It's just like this card doesn't do quite as much for you as you would think. It's not bad, but it's not. I think it's not as good as it initially reads. Because I was blown away by this card. Then I played with it. I'm like, it's okay.
Okay, that makes a lot of sense. We've talked about some of these cards already.
Yeah, there's like the new Laden cards. Laden with Lightning's like kind of interesting. 1 for 3 has the same Lightning Bond effect, and if you pitch a Lightning card to play it, you get an Embodiment of Lightning. This card has the same problem as Arc Bending. I think if it just checked for a Lightning card in your pitch zone, and this was like 1 for 3, get an Embodiment of Lightning, that would be like probably playable. But the Lightning, yeah, the all of the Ice Bond, Earth Bond, Lightning Bond is like a little bit awkward, I think.
Yeah. You can't use your floating resource for it. And I wish they were the element type that they were trying to bond with, honestly. I think if they were lightning itself or like, Earth
Yes.
itself, then it'll be a little bit more appealing to play.
Yeah, I think they're close, but they're kind of all not good.
Yeah. They probably made it too fair on these cards.
Yeah. I think if it just checked for a card in your pitch with the element, they'd be playable.
I guess we'll move on to the Earth cards next. The card that I'm the most impressed with is Limbs of Lignum Viate. I don't know if I said that card right, but basically it's an Earth Equipment Arms that blocks for 1 with Blade Break, and it says if there are 4 or more Earth cards in your advantage zone, this gets +1. So this is basically the arm piece variant of the headpiece that comes in common from Rosetta, but just having a piece of equipment that has the word Earth on it to dump to your graveyard decompose earlier is amazing.
Yeah, it's like we have like the headpiece equivalent of this, and it was great. The arm should also be great. The other Earth card worth mentioning is Sprout Strength. This says your next attack gets +1 3 times, and it says go again. That does have some synergy. This is mostly a Nimblism that is an Earth card, which is already really solid in a deck like Briar, and it works on any attack. So, like, including weapon, including something big. So, yeah, I think Sprout Strength is just like a pretty solid, like 0 for 3 that you can tack onto any attack that's an Earth card. Just seems good.
Yeah, I'm very impressed with Sprout Strength. I got to buff the Reaping Blade with Sprout Strength and attack for 6, and they're just like, I have they had an homage of Ancestry and Arsenal, and they're like, I can't gain life. I eat 6 to lose.
Yeah.
Yeah, this card's very impressive.
Ice cards, I think, kind of aren't relevant for Sage. There's a lot of like freezing allies, destroying frozen permanents type effects. I think these are potentially interesting for Jarl into Gravy and CC, but in Sage, I don't know about you. I haven't really looked at these and wanted to build a Sage deck around them.
No, well, Yarrow doesn't exist in Sage.
Yeah. So you could like play these in Oldham, but it's like, do you really want to build into this freeze sub theme? I don't really think so.
And they're 2 blocks. Like, why do you want to play 2 blocks in Oldham?
Okay. These are CC cards. I think we can move on.
Okay. Lightning cards. I am not impressed with these either. Do you have any cards you want to talk about here?
Strike Twice is maybe playable. This is just Snapback that requires you to have dealt arcane damage to play it as an instant instead of played on non-attack action. But it is a 1 for 3 lightning wizard action. Having the lightning type is pretty relevant, so this could be a reasonable Acilio card. And I'll also talk about Overcharge. It is a 1 for 1 go again, block 3. If you played an instant this chain link, this gets +3, and it has go again. In Acilio, this is like sort of a conditional, very conditional 1 for 5 go again, and it notably blocks 3. I think the biggest thing about this card is that it blocks 3. It's also just like a lightning block 3 if you just want more lightning block 3s. So yeah, the text on this is like, it's very borderline, but I think block 3 does a lot of work, and the rate is okay, is how I would put it.
Okay. I'm not very impressed with this card, but yeah, honestly, the block 3 lightning type does make it appealing. Okay.
Yeah, you just have like almost no lightning block 3s, and so anytime you have a lightning block 3, it's just like maybe it's kind of relevant, is how I feel.
I guess a big upside is that the other lightning block 3s are typically a majestic, so at least this is a common variant.
Yeah, I think you only have Heaven's Claw, so yeah, it's just like it's not a bad option to have. I don't know if it will actually see play in Sage, but it is a card.
Okay, reasonable. Okay, draconic stuff. All of these cards are kind of good.
Yeah.
I don't know if I want to spend that much time talking about all the cards though. Do you want to just talk about like maybe the best one here?
What's the best one?
I think it's Inflame the Firebrand, right?
Maybe. There's a few I want to talk about. Inflame the Firebrand is good. Let's talk about Inflame the Firebrand.
Sure. So Inflame the Firebrand is a 0 cost, 2 power, 3 block Draconic Ninja attack action. And this says, when this attacks, if you control 2 or more Draconic Chain Links, this gets go again. 3 or more, your attacks are Draconic Combat Chain. And 4 or more, this gets +2. So this is like a mini Lava Burst that also has go again if it's Chain Link 4 or greater.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this card's like really good in Fi. interesting in Syndra. The 4 chain links is a bigger ask. It's also just like not that much worse than Lava Vein loyalty, so maybe there's an argument. I think this is like a slam dunk in Fi and worth exploring in Syndra is how I would put this card.
Yeah, but definitely a slam dunk in Fi. This is so good in Fi. It's just a 0 for 4 go again. It's in rare, like so unfair.
And I guess on the topic of good Fi cards, I also want to talk about Fire That Burns Within. This is a 1 for 2, block 2 draconic attack action. It says when this attacks, you may discard a Phoenix Flame. If you do, draw a card. This gets +2, and it has built-in Go Again. So the ceiling on this is a 1 for 4, discard your Phoenix Flame, draw a card, which is crazy. It's like super, super good. This card pairs really well with Rise from the Ashes, where you pick up a Phoenix Flame, your next attack gets +3, and then you can still activate Fi to buy back your Phoenix Flame. So yeah, I think this card is also just a slam dunk in Fi. And Fi in Silver Age is a deck that I think has potential now that maybe didn't before. I don't know how good he is, but I think it is worth looking at off of the back of these 2 cards.
That's fair. You know one thing that I'm really confused about? So Phoenix Flame is in the print run for this set. Why?
I think they just wanted to have all the cards that have tokens. They wanted to print those tokens.
Oh, but this is technically like an in-deck card.
Yeah, Phoenix Flame is technically an in-deck card, so it's in like a weird slot.
Okay.
But I think they have all the tokens that are in the set as cards in the set that you can get, which I think makes sense.
Okay. That makes sense. Okay, when you explain it that way, that makes so much more sense.
The chess piece is also super good. Draconic Equipment chess piece, Guardwell 2, and if 1 or more Frostbite tokens would be created under your control, instead you may destroy this. This chess piece is crazy. Like it doesn't blank, just like it blanks only 1 instance of Frostbites, but if they play like you just can't play Arctic Incarceration into like these Draconic heroes because you just have Guardwell 2 that blanks the Arctic Incarceration.
Yeah, this is pretty strong. I would assume you still just play like either Blood Scent or just like a Blossom of Springs, right?
Yeah, perhaps. I think it's like if there's ever a strong ice hero, you play this card and it's so good. But I think that in general, Blood Scent's probably better. I mean, there's maybe matchups where you also want the Guardwell too. This is a card worth keeping in mind.
Okay, fair enough. So next is some Mystic cards. I guess the first card here is Serpent's Kiss. This card's I am a very big new fan, so I have to talk about this. Serpent's Kiss is a 0 cost, 1 power, 3 block stealth card. And it says when this attacks, create a Fang Strike or a Slither in your hand. And if you transcended this turn, create both. And it also says when this hits a hero, look at top 2 cards of their deck and banish 1 of them. So this is like an on hit that's super relevant. This itself just always have Go Again or is a 2 power blue. This card is insane, like insanely strong for new.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I agree. I think new was not a Sage playable hero before, and if she is now, it's probably largely off the back of this card, is how I feel.
Yeah, I think this card and the other assassin generic cards that got printed in this set. Yeah. Just this set does make new more of a viable deck. I don't know if it's exactly there yet.
Agreed. Also want to talk about Fluid Motion. This is 0 for 2, block 3. If you created a card this turn, this gets Go Again. Notably, tokens are cards. So this pairs really nicely with Zen and Enigma's Chi abilities. So yeah, this is basically block 3, 0 for 2 starter that gets Go Again. Not if you transcend, but if you transcend and activate their hero ability, which is a pretty easy ask. I think this is just like a great starter for both those heroes.
I think if you're playing Zen, if you make a Crouching Tiger, this just gets Go Again as well, right? So you can just use the leg piece equipment.
You can, yeah, but you can also just use the Zen ability, and then you make a Crouching Tiger.
Well, I see. You can attack with this and then transcend, then activate. Oh, that's crazy!
Yeah, it's really good, and Enigma can do the same thing with her hero ability. This card would see CC play if they were still legal in CC.
Oh, okay. I had this like image of that you had to have transcended first, but you actually don't even need to do that.
Yeah, cards are real good.
Okay.
I think the other ones are kind of maybe playable, but a little bit niche is how I feel about them.
Yeah, interesting. We probably don't need to talk about it.
I think some of these would have been like CC playable But yeah.
Yeah, we don't have Mystic right now. Mystic is gone. We don't need Mystic for a while.
Onto Chaos.
Yeah, onto Chaos. I kind of don't want to talk about Topsy Turvy, so that's we're gonna be talking about this card for too long if we talk about this. But
It's like a slightly better AB1.
yeah, it's a slightly better AB1 with a lot of rules implications that kind of don't matter.
Yeah. I guess you can like hose Kano on his Ragamuffins. That's probably like the most relevant thing.
Ragamuffin is not legal in this format.
Oh, okay. I forgot about this.
Easy. We don't have to talk about this. Okay, next. The card to talk about, I think, is Hyperinflation. So this card is a 0 cost 4 power 3 block, and this card says when this attacks, cards cost 1 more to play this turn. This affects all heroes, and then it's go again. So this means that this is a 0 for 4 go again that makes your opponent's D-reacts cost 1 more this whole turn.
Yeah. There is some awkwardness in that it makes your cards cost one more, but there's also like you can swing daggers, and that's not playing a card. So you can potentially like dagger buff, then do this, then swing your daggers. But reactions do get taxed. It's an interesting card. I'm like not sure how high I am on it, but 0 for 4 go again, block 3 is always worth looking at.
Yeah, yeah. I think this card has to be good. I don't know. This card's gonna be format dependent, I think. Because if your opponent's playing a bunch of D reacts, this card just like crazy, right? Like you just get to like smash up your opponent, and like they just like look at their 2D reacts in hand and they can't do anything.
Yeah, there's just like not that many D reacts in Sage though. I think you're going to be taxing yourself more than you're taxing your opponent with this card in Sage. Is kind of my read.
Okay, fair enough. The only other thing is that these are chaos cards, so only one hero in the format that can play it.
Oh yeah, because there's no Slippy. True. Okay, it's just a marionette or like Web of Deceit, I guess is what it's called.
Yeah, it's only Web of Deceit. So these cards don't feel like Web of Deceit cards, so we're kind of waiting for one more Chaos hero to pop up to be able to play these cards.
Okay, revered cards.
Yeah, we've already talked about Comeback Kids. Did you want to talk about it again or just skip it?
Comeback Kicks, probably good for Pleiades. I don't think Pleiades is the best Guardian in Pen.
It's pretty good in Tough Nut.
Oh yeah. Pretty good in Tough Nut too.
Just makes an action point because you almost always cheer.
Yeah, I think it's definitely the best piece of equipment like the best thing for the revered card pool and like one of the better leg pieces in the format. I don't think there's that much else here. There's like some blue sixes for Rock, but Rock is majestic, so that's really like a CC thing. Toughnut did get 6 more blue sixes, like two different copies of blue sixes for Toughnut, but I think that's kind of it.
I think Stadium Security Yellow is a card that Tough Nut really like wants to play. This is a 3 cost at yellow, 6 power, and it blocks for 2. And it says while this card is in your arsenal, if you control a toughness token this turn, this gets ambush. So Tough Nut is a deck that kind of wants to block a lot, and the making toughness token makes it really awkward to block 3 power attacks. And if you have Stadium Security in arsenal, once you have a toughness token, it gets ambush. You have 1 toughness token that's blocked for 3, so it kind of like works really nicely. And now you have a 4-card blocking hand, so it kind of all works out. I feel like Stadium Security is going to be like a staple in the Sage Tough Nut decks.
That makes sense to me. Reviled?
Yeah, reviled cards.
Okay, I want to talk about Chain of Brutality.
Sure. This card messed up, right?
Yeah, the card's crazy. I was kind of shocked this is a rare. This is 0 for 2 reviled brute action card attack. It comes in red only. It's a block 3. It says if it says 6 or more power, it gets go again. And when this hits a hero, the next attack action card you play this turn has 6 base power. I think a threat that you can make into 6 go again is already pretty crazy. And if they don't block it, you just get like basically like a second free activation of RKO on your next attack. This card is really scary. If there's a reason to play RKO, I think it is this. And Mocking Blow.
And technically, if you have 2 of these, you can like play this, make it a 6 power. The next one becomes 6 power itself and gains this ability too, right?
Yeah, and then you can Mocking Blow.
For what is that, 10 for the red one?
Yeah.
So you can go like Chain of Brutality. If you can make it 6 somehow with like, let's say, might tokens, you can go like 6, 6, 10 off of 3 cards.
Well, you can also just RKO to give it go again. Like they can block it to turn off the other part, but I think even just the 6 go again mode of this card is like pretty strong. And then the on hit is also super relevant. So yeah, it's kind of like it's a card that becomes a 6 go again that they have to block, basically, which is really strong. I think RKO kind of struggles into Enigma is that deck's biggest problem, but this card is very, very good.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Um, Reviled equipment gets an arm piece called Line Crossers. This is a Blade Break 1, but it has the static effect that says if you have the same life as a hero, it also counts as you having more life than them and them having less life than you. So it turns off your Mocking Blow at the very beginning of the game, which is kind of nice.
Yep. Line Crossers is a hell of a card. Very, very good for the Reviled heroes, a big get. I have to say, I watched a Reviled player play against Valda, and they had their line crossers, and like, what do you mean you have 21 life? It was so funny.
21 life heroes are broken, I guess. Wow. Line Crossers doesn't work. Oh my god. Another card I want to talk about will be Snarky Prick. This is a 0 cost, 1 power for 3 block, reviled action attack. And this says when it attacks a hero, look at the top card of their deck, and if it's red, destroy it, and this gets +4. So this is a 0 for 5 against a mono red deck, essentially. So pretty powerful as like a card itself.
Yeah, agreed. Definitely a card worth keeping in mind, especially if there's a red line deck at the top of the format. Briar at the moment is pretty red line, so like this would be a good sideboard card against Briar. I'll talk about the Lyath card. I like Walk in My Shoes. It's another one of the 0 for 3 yellow block 3s Reviled Guardian attack actions that gets +1 if its power is greater than its base. And its crush effect just makes them into Lyath. They get Lyath's downside, which is, I think, really funny.
Well, it's not all cards they own. It's only action cards, I'm pretty sure, right?
Attack action cards, yeah.
Attack action cards they control. Okay, yeah. So it's not as like devastating as Lyath's ability.
It's not as devastating, but it's like pretty devastating.
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. Depends on which hero you're on.
Does depend on which hero you're on, but
if I'm a guardian, I'm like kind of crying.
Yeah, I think this card's pretty good, and I think it's very funny.
That's fair. That's fair. I feel like Bad Breath is pretty good too. So this is a for a red, it's a 0 cost reviled action that blocks 2, and it reads intimidate target hero. Then the next time an attack you control hits this turn, create 3 might tokens. Go again. So this is like a head jab-esque card for Lyath.
Yeah.
If it lines up, this card's insane.
Sure, I can see it in Lyath. You just go so tall that you have to hit. I was sort of like, this is like toxicity, and I didn't like toxicity. But I guess the combination of intimidate and the way that Lyath functions, like I can see this. Okay.
Yeah, you're trying to make like a confidence token, and or just go tall enough that it has to hit, right?
Okay.
Yeah, it's like a mini head jab. Like it's a way to convert one of your cards in your hand for 3 points, right?
Yeah, that makes sense.
So that is the end of all of the class cards, or like traded cards, I guess. Yeah. And we have just the generic cards left.
Yeah, and I think that maybe the only generic card we're talking about is Drag Down.
Whoa, no, there's one more.
Okay, well, we'll talk about Drag Down. 0 for 3, D-React, that blocks for 0. Sorry, block 0, D-React, 0 cost at red, and it says the defending attack, when this defense attack, it gets -3 power. This is like basically just an evasive leap. There's pretty limited options available at the moment, though, for D-Reacts, so evasive leap is like kind of somewhat playable. And I think the -3 is just sometimes relevant, like this hoses Bolton, for example.
Bolton really didn't need to get cards that hate on him, though.
Yeah.
I guess one big note will be that Lyath now gets a D-React that gets to get full value.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think this is just like mostly better evasive leap.
Yeah, it is just better evasive leap because Lyath gets to play it.
Sometimes it is the same card, and sometimes it is better. Occasionally, it is better. Is maybe the best way to put it.
Yeah, occasionally it's better. You're right. The card that I do want to talk about is Unyielding Grip. So
Mm-hmm.
this is a generic equipment arms at rare. Blocks for 0. And it says Blade Break. If you have no cards in your hand, this gets +3 block. So this is a 3 block arm piece.
Super good for Enigma if they're projecting a Spectral Shield.
Yeah, and this card is just really good in any hero that's willing to block with their whole hand.
Yeah, yeah, reasonable. Oh, I missed another card.
Oh, is it the card? Is it the marker helm?
Okay, I missed 2 cards. The Helm's also pretty good. The Helm is Temper 1. If you control a gold, it gets +1. You can pay 2, destroy this. The next time you would draw a card from a gold token, instead you draw 2. So you can basically activate 2 golds at the same time using this helmet. It's also just Temper 2. Super solid. Don't think there's too much to explain about that card. Just, yeah, the armor, good. No surprises there. The one that I probably should have mentioned as well is Unflinching Foothold. This is Battle Worn 1 legs. As an instant, you destroy this, target attack loses and can't gain Dominate. I feel like Azalea is kind of a spooky deck in the format, and this is probably a sideboard card that a lot of decks will play so that you don't just get like 16 Dominate on turn 0 by Azalea or something.
Okay. Yeah, it's a sideboard card. It's also good into Bravo, I think.
Yeah, or Valda. I think it's a card that we'll see play as a sideboard card.
Yeah, yeah. If those decks are good, then you'll play these cards.
Okay, I think that's pretty much all of the Sage relevant cards. If you think we missed something, you can let us know. And you can do that on social media. You can find us, Jay is at UA2J on Twitter, and I am at Yukili Bender on Twitter and Blue Sky. We have an email on thebobble@gmail.com. And you can also find us on our Patreon Discord. You can find us patreon.com/onthebobble. Hope that this gave you some like insights and thoughts on some of the cards in Silver Age and kind of how they might play out in some of the existing heroes. I guess as we're wrapping up here, are you excited about any particular heroes in Sage, Jay?
I've been trying a lot of different heroes, but I keep on coming back that maybe just Redline Briar is like so consistently reasonable that that's the deck that I might be playing for at least the ProQuest season that's coming up, because that season's coming up very quickly. It's coming out in 2 weeks, and it's gonna be kind of tough to to make a deck better than that Briar deck, essentially.
Yeah, I've been impressed basically by like Oldham, New Bravo, Enigma, Briar, Ira. I think like those 5 decks seem really solid, and I will give honorable mentions to Brutes. I think Rhinar maybe is the most promising. Intimidate seems kind of good. You need to go a different direction than the beat chest stuff, though. Fi is kind of interesting. We talked about Fi getting a lot of support. I think Fi could maybe be a deck. Are there any other ones? Maybe mostly those 2?
Basically, those two that like kind of got enough stuff from this set to really be like tier 1 contenders.
Yeah, I think at the moment it feels like they are not there, but I would say there is potential, and it is. I think the format is underexplored at the moment because I mean we just got a new set. It was already pretty young format to begin with. There's lots to check out. So I think those are decks that if you enjoy deck building, you want a deck building puzzle. I think those are ones that seem promising.
Mhm. Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, it's this format's kind of it still has the same issue of a 20 life format, right? Like, and because the rares are introduced into this format, like people can get blown up pretty quickly in this format. So it does feel like a little bit like Blitz.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I don't know what I think about this format. I will have more thoughts after prepping and playing PQs, and I'm sure I'll have lots of thoughts after Yokohama. I'm trying to keep an open mind at the moment. I feel like there's kind of not a deck that I want to play. Yeah. I was considering last minute going to London, and my condition was if there's a deck that I'm excited to play, I'll go to London. And so far that hasn't happened. So I don't think I'm going to London unless I find something today. I think today is the cutoff.
Yeah, today literally is the cutoff. If you don't leave today, you. Oh, is it the 13th?
I can leave tomorrow. Basically, I don't know if this is still true, but there is a cheap flight tomorrow that is like $700, and I can use flight credit on it, so it's not too bad. And I would miss the world premiere, but I would get to play the calling, which is honestly fine. The world premiere is kind of
The what is that, like, structure deck tournament essentially?
yeah, and you like get a booster and you get to add the booster cards. But like, I feel like you just like might not even open anything that you want to put into your deck.
Yeah, and you're probably just making your deck worse most of the time.
Yeah, yeah. So I'm not like the most excited. Like I usually love world premieres. I love limited, but yeah, this one if I wanted to go, it would be for the calling. And yeah, I wanted to go to San Diego, but I thought it was after Montreal, so I didn't book my flight. And now flights are really expensive, and for some reason, it's cheaper to fly to London in like 2 days than it is to fly to Montreal in like 10 days. So
Oh,
that's why I was looking at London.
okay. That's fair. That's fair.
Like $900 to fly to San Diego and $700 to fly to London, and I'm just like, well, I don't think I'm going to San Diego.
That's crazy. Yeah, flying within the same province is more expensive. Is a crazy ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, $900 to fly to San Diego is crazy. I just booked my flight to Japan, and that one cost me $1,000 flat. So man, that's like going like 12 or 13 hours, right, in the air.
Yep. San Diego is like a 3 hour flight from us. It's usually like a couple $100. It's just for some reason really expensive.
Hmm. Yeah. Oh, crazy. Okay, let's wrap it up here.
Yep. Sounds good. Have a good night, everyone.
Yeah. Good night. Thanks for listening, guys.